The date is April 1st, 1990. The SkyDome in Toronto, Canada, burns with a crackling anticipation, its 67,000-strong crowd collectively aware that they are witnessing history in the making. Beneath the glare of the arena lights, two icons stand poised, their larger-than-life personas and Herculean physiques a testament to the era of excess they epitomize: the Intercontinental Champion and the World Heavyweight Champion, the Ultimate Warrior and Hulk Hogan, prepare to engage in a confrontation that transcends the squared circle, evolving into a spectacle that would be mythologized for decades. This wasn't just a wrestling match. It was an event of epic proportions, a collision of charismatic forces that symbolized not just a rivalry, but a clash of ideologies and archetypes within the world of professional wrestling. It was a moment that captivated millions, etching itself into the annals of sports entertainment. To fully grasp the significance of this encounter, it is essential to first contextualize the transformative environment of professional wrestling during the 1980s. Wrestling in the years prior was predominantly a regional pastime. Independent territories dotted the map of North America, each operating as an isolated ecosystem where wrestlers were local celebrities but rarely ascended to national fame. The concept of a global wrestling icon was practically inconceivable. Enter Vince McMahon and the World Wrestling Federation. McMahon envisioned a seismic shift, redefining wrestling as a hybrid of sport and spectacle, an electrifying blend of athleticism and storytelling. By merging traditional grappling with cinematic narratives, McMahon sought to create not just wrestlers, but cultural icons. In this reshaped paradigm, charisma and marketability became as important, if not more so, than in-ring technique. Terry Bollea's transformation into Hulk Hogan marked a revolution in wrestling personas. Hogan transcended the mold of the rough-hewn, working-class brawler that had typified wrestlers in earlier decades. His character was a synthesis of optimism, patriotism, and larger-than-life heroism, a figure meticulously designed to resonate with the zeitgeist of Reagan-era America. Hogan's ability to connect with audiences was unparalleled. His promos were theatrical sermons, exhorting fans to train, say their prayers, and eat their vitamins. These weren't merely catchphrases, they were motivational mantras, embodying a self-help ethos that appealed deeply to America's middle class. Hogan's red and yellow aesthetic became symbolic of hope and positivity, visually contrasting with the darker, more menacing tones of his rivals. His matches, while often derided by purists for their simplicity, were masterclasses in emotional storytelling. A quintessential Hogan match followed a time-honored arc, a hero beset by insurmountable odds, on the brink of defeat, only to stage a miraculous comeback fueled by sheer determination and the roaring support of the crowd. For fans, it was less about wrestling mechanics and more about witnessing a modern-day morality play where good triumphed over evil. Outside the ring, Hogan's appeal expanded into mainstream entertainment. From his memorable role in Rocky III as Thunderlips to his appearances in cartoons, movies, and advertisements, Hogan was not just a wrestler, but a pop culture phenomenon. He laid the foundation for wrestling's crossover into global entertainment. In stark contrast to Hogan's polished heroism stood the Ultimate Warrior, a man who seemed to channel chaos itself. James Bryan Helwig's transformation into the Ultimate Warrior was an act of theatrical alchemy, creating a character that defied convention and logic. While Hogan represented disciplined heroism, Warrior embodied raw, unfiltered energy. The Warrior's entrances alone were legendary. Where other wrestlers strutted confidently to the ring, he charged with the fury of a man possessed, shaking the ropes with such vigor that it felt as though the very fabric of reality might tear. His face paint and arm tassels gave him an almost mythological aura, as though he were a warrior from another realm, summoned to Earth to battle. His promos were cryptic, surreal streams of consciousness. Far from delivering straightforward messages, Warrior spoke in riddles and metaphors, his words brimming with cosmic and primal imagery. To some, they were nonsensical. To others, they were poetry in motion, a direct line to the subconscious. In the ring, Warrior's style was less about precision and more about intensity. His matches were explosive, short bursts of action that captured his unrelenting energy. He didn't sell his opponent's moves in the traditional sense. He absorbed punishment like a mythical hero, imbuing his character with an aura of invincibility. During his remarkable first 5-year tenure with the Federation, he cemented his legacy as a transformative force in professional wrestling. Within just 2 years, he achieved the rare distinction of claiming the Intercontinental Championship not once but twice, showcasing his dominance and versatility. This ascent culminated in an iconic victory over Hogan to secure the World Heavyweight Championship, making history as the first wrestler to simultaneously hold both prestigious titles, a feat that redefined the boundaries of greatness in the sport. Had he not clashed with Vince McMahon over compensation, one can only speculate on the heights his career might have reached. Without this rift, his trajectory could have been vastly different, potentially solidifying his status as one of the most enduring icons in professional wrestling history. As his career was longer, Hulk Hogan's accolades tower over those of the Ultimate Warrior, underscoring his dominance in professional wrestling. Hogan captured the World Heavyweight Championship 6 times, compared to Warrior's single reign, with one of Hogan's title runs spanning 1,474 days. Adding to his legacy, Hogan claimed back-to-back victories in the Royal Rumble in 1990 and 1991, further cementing his status as a cornerstone of the industry. Hogan's career was a clinic in longevity and brand management. Each decision was calculated to sustain his status as wrestling's top draw. He was a shrewd businessman who understood the importance of protecting his persona and capitalizing on his fame. From his strategic booking to his ventures outside wrestling, Hogan's every move was designed to build an empire. The Warrior's rise, by contrast, was meteoric but unsustainable. His success was fueled by his innate charisma and presence rather than calculated strategy. However, his inability or unwillingness to navigate the political intricacies of the wrestling business became his Achilles heel. His tumultuous relationship with management and frequent conflicts over creative direction ultimately curtailed what could have been a longer, more impactful career. The confrontation between Hogan and Warrior at WrestleMania 6 was more than a wrestling match. It was a cultural event. For the first time, 2 of the biggest stars in the industry collided in a title-for-title bout. The stakes were monumental, not only because of the championships involved, but because of what the match represented. Hogan was the face of wrestling's established order, embodying tradition and reliability. Warrior was the wild card, representing a break from convention and the possibility of a new era. Their clash wasn't just about who was better. It was a philosophical battle between the familiar and the unpredictable. The match itself was a masterpiece of drama. Both men delivered performances that transcended their technical limitations, telling a story of mutual respect, competition, and the passing of the torch. When Warrior defeated Hogan cleanly, a rarity in Hogan's career, it signaled a seismic shift. For a moment, it seemed as though a new king had ascended the throne. And it must also be noted that although these 2 legends headlined the grand stage of WrestleMania 6 with an unforgettable main event, their fateful rematch 7 years later became infamous for all the wrong reasons. The 1998 bout, staged in WCW, is universally derided as one of the most disastrous matches in professional wrestling history. Wade Keller of Pro Wrestling Torch delivered a scathing critique, branding the contest with his lowest possible dud rating. He condemned the lackluster in-ring performance and the crowd's palpable disinterest, bluntly asserting that Hogan and Warrior had lost their spark. The verdict from Dave Meltzer of the Wrestling Observer newsletter was even more damning. Meltzer awarded the match a jaw-dropping -5 stars out of 5, the lowest rating ever given to a WCW match, and it was crowned worst match of the year by his publication's readers. In a stark juxtaposition to their storied showdown at WrestleMania, this rematch is a haunting reminder that even the brightest stars can falter when their time in the spotlight has passed. Yet still, this doesn't change the fact that the aftermath of WrestleMania 6 left an indelible mark on professional wrestling. Hogan would remain a cornerstone of the industry for years to come, eventually transitioning to a darker persona in WCW's NWO storyline, which revolutionized wrestling once again. His ability to reinvent himself ensured his relevance across multiple generations. Warrior's legacy, though less enduring, remains significant. His intensity and unique charisma inspired a generation of wrestlers who sought to bring a similar level of passion and individuality to their performances. Despite his brief tenure at the top, Warrior's impact on the wrestling landscape cannot be overstated. Hogan enjoyed a longer and more illustrious career, marked by unparalleled success and cultural impact. However, his legacy today is mired in controversy, as numerous off-ring incidents have alienated many former fans, casting a shadow over his once unassailable status as a wrestling icon. Determining who was better between Hogan and Warrior ultimately depends on perspective. Hogan was the consummate professional, a master of longevity and marketability. Warrior was the untamed spirit, a shooting star whose brilliance was fleeting but unforgettable. Together, they represented the duality of wrestling as both a business and an art form. Hogan's calculated heroism and Warrior's raw intensity were two sides of the same coin, each contributing to the evolution of wrestling into a global entertainment phenomenon. In the end, the question of who was better is less important than the legacy they built together, a legacy that continues to influence and inspire long after the lights of the SkyDome have dimmed. Thank you for watching.